Like you're
Great.
live.
Excellent. Well, thanks everyone for joining another episode of the Cross Project Council meeting at the OpenJS Foundation. I will do my obligatory hi friends in the chat here of the stream, and I will add the link to the doc. Right? Why does Google not paste sometimes? There it is. Good. Cool. So let's get the party started. Do we have any announcements?
Well, chronologically, I know we have a security working group meeting. Joe, you may want to talk more about that in a sec. But September is heating up to be busy in early October. Let's see, starting next week, next Thursday, I'll be on a panel, Women in Tech panel at the Wix Developer Conference. So if you like Wix and you're a developer in that community, I'll be there in New York. Friday, September 16th, we are having a Node.js hackathon as part of the Open Source Day at Grace Hopper. So if you're a registered attendee, virtual or in person, check us out. It's on the Open Source Day website. Node.js is a featured project, so that's pretty cool. So thanks Danielle Adams, Franzi, and Rich on the Node project, Rich Trott. A lot of cool stuff happening there. And then Sarah and I and Paula Paul and others from the foundation will be in Orlando for the Grace Hopper conference the week of September 20th. We'll have a booth under the Linux Foundation banner, so that'll be fun. And that same week, September 22nd and 23rd, there is a collaborator summit for the Open Visualization Collab Space. So if you love Open Viz, we actually have a Slack channel, Open Visualization. It was formerly the Urban Computing Foundation, so some of those mapping projects that you may know and love. So check it out. We'll have the Eventbrite space up probably today or tomorrow. And last but not least, we have another Collab Summit October 1st and 2nd, adjacent to NodeConf EU, which is a very popular, beloved event in Ireland. And so that is October 1st and 2nd. And we also have a Collab Summit planning channel in Slack, if that's something you're interested in, and a GitHub repo as well. Did I miss anything? There's a lot going on. A lot of fun stuff. So wear your masks, get your shots. It's all mandatory.
Excellent. Yeah, and you mentioned the security collab space, which is happening immediately after this meeting. We have an issue on that we can touch on the agenda. So we can talk more about that, but just to reiterate, if folks want to check that out, that'd be great. Happy to have you. Anything else in terms of announcements? Or perhaps board updates would be another thing we can do here. I mean, I guess one thing to say is the recent board meeting was the first one for Mateo. Is that correct?
Yes, it was the first board meeting for me. Hello.
Woohoo!
Woo! Yeah.
Cool.
We had 4 new faces, which is pretty fun. And we got to honor Michael Dawson, who has been such a steady board member, and got to recognize his leadership. So yay, thank you, Michael. But yeah, we have 4 new board members. We have Mateo, who's our one of our community reps. We have 2 new silver reps now, Paula Paul and Abby Bunek. I'm going to mispronounce her last name. Paula is from Nearform and Abby is from GitHub. And yeah, and then we, Sonal, who is our Google rep, is passing the torch. She's very busy at work and with life. So she passed her board seat torch to Sarah Jane Whitfield at Google in the open source programs office. So pretty soon we'll maybe have we have 2 Sarahs, maybe we'll have 3 eventually, but we're, yeah, got a lot of enthusiasm on the board. So pretty exciting.
That's great. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a blog post on the OpenJS blog about the new board members.
There is. Yep.
Pretty good.
And we'll have one on Sarah Jane coming up this week.
Great. Cool. Anything else in terms of announcements? If not,
No, we're still working on the process of getting the slides in front of the CPC. There's been, that's on me. What I'm gonna do is get a version this week before the next CPC meeting in front of folks to get approved. And then I'm just gonna add it as an issue. And then people can take a look at it. I don't know if we'll have time to present in a CPC, but it'll be helpful for people to look at if that works for everyone.
yeah, it'd be cool to figure out. Like that. Great, thank you, Sarah. And all right, so jumping into things then, I'll start clicking through on the agenda here. The first issue is 923, clarify voting processes. I don't know if anybody has any updates on this. I know we were going to try to do a working session, but that I think has not happened. If I'm not
I think the working session was canceled the last time because of summer holidays, but it will be next on the agenda.
okay, should we put that right onto the
Yeah,
the
you can
working
just make
session?
that edit. So if y'all recall, we have a pinned agenda essentially on our cross-project council issue that has the topics. Let's
And
see.
I will also add it to the notes here at the bottom of the page. There is a section that says next week's working session voting process.
So that is, okay, I'll make that edit right now.
And that issue is 923, if you wanted to add it to that issue that you're editing, Robin.
Okay. I am editing 816, the CPC meeting schedule that's pinned.
Yep,
Yeah,
the voting issue though is 923, just so you know.
got it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And I will say in the notes here, we'll work on and next working session. Great. All right.
Okay. I'll be on an airplane that day, so y'all just solve all the world's problems that day.
At once? Okay.
Yeah.
All at once.
Every week. Maybe every other week. Moving on then, the next issue is 911. This is the OpenJS World Retrospective. I know we've talked about this a few times. I don't know if this is something that needs to remain open or if we should have some more notes in here or links to notes or what
I have all of the data from the event. It's all organized in graphs from the event team. It's a PDF. I think I could just share it in the issue or I'll share it in Slack. But we have all of that data now complete.
Do we want to use a working session for this as well? Is this, we have the data, did we host a retrospective? I was looking through stuff to see if we actually hosted one. It didn't look like we did, but maybe we did.
I think that we did at least once on both retrospective and planning, and we have started the program committee as well. So I don't know, maybe that's something to take over there. But I think posting stuff to that issue would be great, for
Okay.
Sure. Cool. I'll maybe we can close the issue once we capture some numbers there. And again, I'm not sure. I feel like Wally took some notes. I don't know if those should also be added here too. So we'll see. Maybe we should ping in Slack and see what the consensus is on this particular issue. But if I'm going to move along without objection, the next issue is 910. This is a patching script for code of conduct modifications to the upstream. This is something that I was going to work on, and now that I have a place to live, I can consider that. But of course, if anybody else wanted to jump in, I would not object as well. I think Tierney even pinged me something that he thought would be an easy way to manage this. So it's on my list. I will try to get to this soon, unless somebody beats me to it. So not much more there. We've got another OpenJS World issue here. This is 908 OpenJS World 2023 planning. Similarly, I don't know if we should add some things here and then move the discussion over to the program committee, or what people think.
Yeah, we had a really well-attended program committee meeting last week. I think that the general consensus, talking with the board on budget, talking with the program committee, and some of the kind of post-mortem conversations we've had with this group, is that we won't do a big standalone event next year in 2023, but rather we will co-locate and do adjacent site events for and with the Linux Foundation and other partners. So be that NodeConf.eu or Half Stack or other of your favorite third-party events or non-Linux Foundation events, we'll be working on putting together a plan, prioritizing that budget, and then think about how we can take some of our folks and put them on the road as well, and plugging them into places. So that's kind of the evolving plan to date. And
We met
again,
with
it's sort
events
of
yesterday just to like quantify like what our spend was and get some more ideas around that. And it looks like we're doing better than we thought we were in terms of costs.
Yeah.
Great. So does it make sense to maybe update this issue and then close it?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the planning will happen in the program committee. So again, if that's something you're interested in, I would really encourage you to participate. That's on the public calendar. So I'll put some information in there. So
Thursdays, right?
Yes,
Thursdays, yeah.
Cool.
it's a fun meeting. It's a good one.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be great to have an update to the CPC when there's like a proposal or whatever on that, but yeah.
We're getting numbers. To be clear, we did lose money at OpenJS World 2023. Sponsors just, weren't there. So we do have some buffer. So that's okay this year, but it's not a long-term sustainable model for sure.
Okay. Moving on then, I think this next issue is issue 906. This is the CPC at-large voting member election. What is this done, right? Kahil, maybe you are the person to ask.
Yeah, this is done.
Okay.
Sorry, I was on mute. I was looking back through this.
Say again.
I said, sorry, I was on mute. I said, this is done first. And then I realized I was on mute, so I had to do it again.
Who won?
I remember. Let me go look at everything. Robin, do you remember who won? It's been...
Well, we only had sole nominees. We have Emily and Michael and Toby as our at-large and community reps. So we had only sole nominees in those categories. And our website update is in the works. It was something we thought we could be managing ourselves, and there were some changes on the LF WordPress site, but we are fixing those so we can more easily manage our own updates.
Cool. Well, congratulations, everyone.
Yeah.
Kahil, maybe if you get a moment, can you update that issue, and then we'll call that one a wrap.
Yeah, let me grab that.
That'll be great. And then I don't know, accordingly, there's a little bit of conversation in Slack about members and teams in GitHub. If you wouldn't mind taking a look at that as
Yeah,
well.
I saw that one. I said, I replied, like, I'll jump on that and look at it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but I mean, as
No, thanks
well
for
as
flagging that one.
these updates as well would be great if everything was aligned. That'd be cool. And if you need help, just let me know. Cool. So then once we get that updated, we can close that issue. That'd be great. Is that the same thing for the CPC impact voting member selection? I mean, I guess this is selection, not election. jQuery, Node, Electron. Are we missing anyone that needs to be prodded for this?
I think we had most of them. Appium gave me their updates. Tierney gave us the Electron updates. Shelley is swapping out with Eric. Zhao and Electron, we are not Electron. Appium, we lost. They had two anyhow. Let's see. But yeah, folks have been sort of sending us in. This is where it's interesting because our governance model said that the CPC would ratify the impact project reps, which is a little fuzzy. So yeah, Isaac is no longer a voting member of Appium. So we have Jonah and Jonathan Lips. So everybody else, except for the Electron update I mentioned, is current on that.
Okay. So yeah, if you have any more info you can put in that issue and we can close that, that would be great. I also would imagine that even though this is a selection rather than an election, this ratification question is something that perhaps we could address in the voting process.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael, I don't know if you were there when that was written, if you remember the intent of that.
I think, my understanding is that it's, it's not an election, but the CPC, basically has the ability to look at the group and say, yeah, that the people that have been nominated fit in with the expectations that we have for, voting members. And so it's maybe largely a rubber stamp, but if there was a case where somebody was nominated and they really didn't fit with the values, or that the CPC could choose not to. So I think, like, in terms of the governance, all that really needs to happen is, like, maybe that's just an email to the CPC voting members saying, here's the list. Any objections? Nope, done, right? And that's ratified in my mind anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it could even be through, some sort of pull request as well, approvals
Right.
on,
Whatever's the easiest possible thing, right, is like, would satisfy that, I think. But I think, Joe, you're right, like somewhere visible is good. So like a pull request is.
Yeah. And I added a comment to the voting work issue so that we touch on that on next week. Clarify.
If I may just quickly, this feels like some of what Galina was talking about in terms of having some internal process on the foundation side. Like there's a number of things that we have clear understanding of, like the high level of what we have to do, and then there's like the actual process of doing it, and that feels like it falls in that category. So I don't know where it should land, but like it feels like the same kind of problem.
Yeah, a lot of this has sort of been ad hoc in the last 3 years, right? And roles change and appointments, and we sort of make website updates, and it's sort of an email, but there hasn't been a unified process around these things.
Yeah, maybe there should even be like an operations doc that might we can drop these things in, because there is some operations like guidance for onboarding regular members. So I know that that's there in terms of adding them to this team and announcing them, but maybe we don't have the same sort of processes documented for these other bits. So if we had like an operations document, then we could just, from like I don't know if it's the governance or what, but we could just link to those processes.
It's we have a lot of information in the governance, but what I found is my eyes were starting to cross as I was like trying to read and interpret and cross-reference in a variety of places. So just maybe one sort of really simple source of truth, right? On that, which we can clarify in that working session.
Yeah, okay. I'm adding that comment as well, like just operations and procedures and things like that.
Yeah. even the voting tool, we've pretty much standardized on that with OpenVote and where
Yeah.
the lists live and all those things. So
Putting that all in a
because
separate document, I think, is always in line with what was thought. Like the governance was meant to be something you wouldn't have to change that often. So you wouldn't want to put in, we're using this voting tool because then, oh, well, you got to get the governance, you got to get the board approval to change the governance. Well, no. So but having a second doc that says, here's how we implement all those things, I think would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
totally, absolutely. Yep.
Great. Cool. I dropped a couple of comments in that voting process stuff issue so that we can be sure to touch on them. Right on. If there is nothing else on that one, I will continue on. I think this is another voting election issue that we can probably close. This is the secondary CPC director. So again, thank you everyone for running, and thank you, congratulations Mateo for being our new rep. Woo! Yay! If anyone has a moment and can just kind of drop a note in that issue, and we can close that, that would be awesome. And next week we won't have as long of an agenda, perhaps, because we're knocking down some of these issues. Next on the list here is 898. This is the Grace Hopper Open Source Day issue. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll put all the registration information in. I know the virtual, the in-person event is sold out, but the virtual, which allows you to participate in the Node Hackathon, is still open. The last time I checked.
Last time I checked as well, I was nodding and then like slowly moving my mouse to my email.
Yeah. They're expecting, 30,000 total, 15,000 on site, 15,000 virtual. So
That's great.
we are limiting the number of folks who participate in the hackathon just because it is very sort of hands-on. So we're going to cap that at 75.
Okay. Great. So should we update that with any links or updates?
Yeah,
or
I'll do that. Yeah, I have looks like a lot of updates to do in GitHub today.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great. So if I am to move along, I am on one of our favorite pull requests here. This is 851. This is to update the contributor covenant code of conduct to version 2.1. I had this also on my list to simply update, so it's able to be merged, and then merge it, and then have the tool, open up a, I don't know exactly how the process will be, but basically document the changes that we want to make to the upstream, and then implement that tool to track those kinds of changes. Toby?
Yeah, we have this conversation like every other week at this point. And every other week we sort of like slightly change what it is that we want to do with that thing. Last time we had this conversation, the agreement was that we would not merge this until we had the tool ready for the other thing, which is, I think, the first issue that you talked about today. And like, I actually personally really don't care, but I think we should like do a thing and stick to it and not have it like not have a conversation about it every other week.
Yeah, I agree. It just needs to get done. And I may have misphrased it. I was saying kind of do it all together at once, but yeah,
Apologies, my misunderstanding if that's what you said.
I was kind of thinking as I was talking, so it didn't maybe come out perfectly. But yeah, the tool, I need to figure out how to do the patching. And then once I have that ready, can kind of step through this. But I agree. I am very much looking forward to not having this issue on the agenda. So however we can get that, I mean, I have the plan to figure out the patching, and then we'll try to move it forward. And now that I am living somewhere, I can focus on that. So hopefully soon.
Yeah, I didn't mean to be an asshole about it. I hope it
No,
didn't
no,
come
no.
across that way. Okay, good.
No, believe me, I'm ready to not talk about this anymore.
No, especially because I think the issue that's like right below this one and two below this one is the one where every other week I say I'm going to do this soon. So, you know.
Yeah. We'll get to that issue in 1 minute. So I'm going to move on because I don't want to talk about that one anymore, but I will work on it soon. The next one is issue 826. This is a focus on JavaScript security at OpenJS. We talked about it earlier. The first meeting is in 26 minutes, 25 minutes roughly. Have we created a repo for this yet? I don't know if we have, but that's kind of one of the first things. I don't think I wanted to do it until we started the process. So in the next meeting, we will start to head down that road. I will admit that I don't have a lot prepared. I have a couple of things that I think would be great to be the first things that we start to work on. Yeah, I don't want to keep putting off the meeting until I am totally prepared. So let's just have the meeting and we'll figure it out together. So I hope folks will join me in 20 some odd minutes, and we'll talk about security in the OpenJS space, which I'm looking forward to.
I think we've come a long way. I think I opened that in January. I mean, since then, we were the pilot project for OpenSSF. We've been blogging with the progress report, and of course, there's a robust, more robust details on that from Raphael on GitHub at Nearform. Thank you, Raphael.
Yep.
And thanks to all of you who have been sort of working with him. One of the things from Nearform and from Trail of Bits, we're working on that, is everything that we're learning and doing. I know they're thinking about how does this apply to other JavaScript projects or other open source projects generally. So it's probably a good starting point. And I know that they're tracking. I see them in the OpenSSF Slack channel. That's a good place to join as well. If you haven't, there is a best practices channel. There's a Project Alpha Omega channel. All of those places where we're sort of living right now.
Yeah, and there are lots of meetings too on the OpenSSF side, you know, securing open source projects and best practices, and there are a lot of meetings on the OpenSSF side. So cool. I look forward to kicking that off, and we'll continue there. So if I am to move along, the next one is Toby's favorite. Or no, this one is the license check one. This one is, we're still kind of just waiting on the foundation, I think, on this one, right?
Yeah, I think I can pick that up. We actually just met with the new leadership from our LFIT. It was more on some infrastructure things, but let me put this on the calendar.
You okay, Sarah?
Sorry, it's something totally unrelated.
I couldn't tell if you were laughing or crying or what was.
No, I'm laughing. I just realized I sent out an email where I called a project that we're all working on an annoying effort instead of an ongoing effort. It's nothing to do with it. Went out to a lot of people, so go.
That's hilarious. Oh, good times.
Little out of character, Sarah.
That is funny.
It is funny.
All right, moving along. This is issue 786, clarify requirements around code of conduct violation. This is another thing that we've had open for over a year, August 3rd, 2021. So this one, I think, yeah, this is the one of the ones that you have, Toby, on your list.
This is shameful at this point.
No, you know, it's open source. So we'll keep that one as is, no update. And issue 761 is build stronger ties between at-large maintainers and their CPC rep.
I had a plan for this, but I no longer have a plan for this. So, well, I have to rethink this. Now, I think it would be good for Emily, Matteo, Sarah, and I to try to figure something out here, in my opinion, if you all are up to it.
Sounds good to me.
Maybe like a work session at some point.
Mhm.
Maybe we can take the one after, because I know next week is taken, maybe we could take the one after.
Sure.
Can we like pencil
That's
it in?
the 20th, right?
I believe so. Let me double check the
But
calendar.
I will be at Grace Hopper, so, but I could probably work around, I could probably like, I'm not gonna be there every second.
Or
of
the
the day.
one after. I mean, it's like this been an issue open for a fairly long time that we sort of like try to figure a way around. And I don't think there's like a huge amount of urgency. Like 2 weeks is not going to change like this. So
Okay,
if
great.
it's easier, sort of like mid-October, whenever the next one is, that
Go
works, yeah.
4th of October.
There is the NodeConf thingy running at that point.
So after that,
The 18th.
Maybe just schedule it ad hoc. I would recommend somebody throw a doodle out and we can schedule something out.
It's a good idea.
Just because otherwise it's going to go forever. Okay.
Only until, mid-October.
I just updated on October 18th. Does that work?
That works for me.
What's the time slot? Sorry, it's a little bit further ahead. So,
Yes, good question. I can tell you, just look at the.
2 hours later than this one.
Yeah, and that does not work for the CPC meeting. That does not work for me.
Mhm.
So we are going to the 25th.
25th of what month?
Yeah, because I think if you just jumped ahead a week, that would be the regular CPC meeting.
yeah. So it's the after that.
It'd be the 1st of November.
I'll be at
The
all things
CPC
open.
work.
Let's do a doodle, because this is clearly we're not all going to make any of the, or not all of us will make any one of the near future working sessions.
Yeah,
We can-
it's
We can also close a lot of these issues and use maybe the last half hour, do the first half CPC, second half working. Be efficient.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, let's just close all those issues. Just click right through. But no, you're right. There are a bunch of them that need to remain open, but are just like check-ins. So that's certainly plausible. Let's aim for that next. Oh well, that next meeting is going to be too late for Mateo. So in a month. Is that right? So that would be 13. That would be
No,
the-
seriously, like I think we tried doing in good faith doing the scheduling thing on this call, and I don't think it is working. But it is cute of you to like really insist there. I'm heartfully with you.
let's do it in a ad hoc meeting, and let's say let's crunch them in an ad hoc meeting, so at least we know it. If somebody can shout a doodle, that would be the best thing ever.
Sounds good. One thing that I
We'll do a
noticed.
doodle. Our team will do a doodle.
Okay, great.
Because
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so now we have to figure out who actually owns this. So thanks for stepping in, Robin.
Your friendly staff team.
You know, that saved us like another 10 minutes of trying to figure out like how that would work.
I
Yeah.
started making one.
And I do appreciate, yeah, I do appreciate your patience. We do have a new team, and we actually have an open, half open head count. So if you know great people, but
Oh, I was throwing the stone at us, not at the staff, just to be clear.
oh, no,
I mean,
that's
like,
okay.
One thing I do notice in that issue, which I don't think we've really implemented, is a mention of a quarterly review.
no,
And
we haven't. We've tried, but since I'm the only one that actually cares about this, I have a thing on my to-do list, and I sort of I just retack them whenever like a quarter actually happens.
Yeah, but I wonder, I mean, like, should the CPC do a quarterly review of certain items, I guess is my question.
That was sort of like the suggestion at some point. I mean, there were things that felt like it was a pain to have them on a weekly basis, but it was useful to have them from time to time. That was one of them. And so I looked at it like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to put this back on the agenda because it's been like a while we haven't talked about it. So yes, I think it would be useful, but you know.
Yeah. There is even mention in the dates and reminders thing to check the issues labeled CPC quarterly review at the end of every quarter. So we should maybe just think about that, I guess. If we don't have anything we need to review, then okay. But if we do, we should either label it or drop it into that doc, the dates and reminders doc. All right. That was the last issue, the last agenda item. So we got 15 minutes. What else are we going to tackle?
There's just a couple of PRs open, I believe, if you all could kind of check in. Travel fund. We still have budget in our travel fund. We have 2 collab summits coming up, one in Dublin, one in Madrid. So if you are an active collaborator and need support, please do ask. I think we have 1 request in there already. If you can take a look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Eric's request has enough approvals.
Aside from this, the PR 889. Are we expecting anything to happen there? That's on. So that one. Define approving process for changes to the code of conduct. And it was started by Christian Broman, and I think is blocked effectively by me having asked for a better text around what is actually the governance of the CPC, because the text, I think, makes it unclear, but there's approvals from pretty much everyone else. Are we expecting Christian to do something about this, or should we talk about this at some point, or how is this going to have a progress?
I think at a minimum we should add it to next week's working session, but I'm happy because I think it's related. Oh no, sorry, it's not related. It's not voting. For some reason I was thinking it was. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it would be kind of cool to run through the issues in the issue tracker and close stuff at some point, and deal with a bunch of open things that we are not ever going to do. And just like I don't know, could that be part of something of that nature at some point?
Sure. Yeah, I think I even saw Matteo close an old issue not long ago.
I randomly passed through one and I just closed it. You know, I have been, if somebody it says that it should not be closed, somebody will tell me and reopen. I've been,
Yep.
I moved
So that,
to that approach.
I mean, that would be another option, right? But there's like, if you look at it, there's a whole lot of issues that are open, and you know,
I would just declare bankruptcy and basically set up one of those stale bots and says that if it's been inactive for 6 months, it's goodbye.
Yeah, we got a bunch of those.
I'm not a fan of those stale bots personally. I think it's a big middle finger if an issue I care about or filed is closed by a machine.
Maybe time, but if somebody cares, it gets reopened. So, you know, it's if something is not being worked for 6 months plus.
Since the only person that can reopen an issue that the issue filer didn't close is the maintainers, my experience is that, in fact, they never get reopened. New issues get filed, which creates noise, which doesn't help solve the problem.
So we've got 67 open issues at this time, of which 22 look like they're automatically generated meetings for different
So can
CPC council meetings.
Can we close all of them? All of them?
Are we expecting notes to be added somewhere for
Yeah,
those?
yes, and that's on me. That's something I've been.
Look, it's the latest. I was checking the notes. Okay, there is no notes. There's only two notes being filled for SPRs. So for 2022.
Yeah, I need to get the notes caught up, which is going to be a big pile of notes.
The alternative question here is, why do we have a complicated process of pushing our notes to GitHub when we already have them on Google Docs?
Because it's editable Google Docs.
Yeah, we like to
Sorry,
keep
because what?
Okay, yeah.
Because what?
Because we keep everything in GitHub.
Also, it's editable.
Once we backfill Jory, that will give you more support that you need, Joe, on that as well. So
Can we like have a Zapier task or something that just does that?
We've been working on a better solution in the PKG.js org, but it's just been stalled for, I don't know, a year or more. I've made a little bit of headway on it. That would use HackMD instead of Google, and would have a more automated process, but it just hasn't gotten anywhere.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of like sort of infrastructure stuff that we sort of do that with, right? We're like, it would be good if, and then they sort of like, it becomes an issue that we talk about like either quarterly or every other week. It's like, it would be nice if we had like this automated that or this automated thing. And so I don't know, like it feels. It feels like we should find solutions that actually work now instead of like hoping for solutions that get implemented in like 3 years.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just don't know the answer.
I mean, I think along Toby's comment, it basically comes down to, do we think it's important to have minutes in GitHub? If yes, somebody's got to do it, or automate it. But like today, it's like a manual thing, right? Like after the meeting, you enter it and.
Yep. So like I said, I don't disagree. The answer is I need to get it done. And I don't know any other answers at the moment. Except that maybe when Jory's backfilled, that might help. Anyway, it's on my list. It's just not that high.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
frankly, it's not that hard to do after the meetings.
Look, Joe, I have a similar list in like other things where I have, similar roles that you have in here. Like, I'm not trying to, again, blame you for this. Like, it's just like, this stuff is actually like annoying to do. And a lot of people are not very good at actually like keeping up to date with like really annoying tasks like this one. I'm terrible at this, right?
Yeah.
Like, and like, maybe like this feels like a problem that lots of people have, and like maybe we could find other options that would be easy to do. So I mean, like one of the things I'm looking at is like, can we actually do this using like Zapier, for example? Like, does the foundation have a Zapier account, and is that something that could set up? It's just a question. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it would be great. Automate all the things if possible, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah, Cahill, let's post something in the maybe in the PM Slack. Do you have a PM Slack channel?
Yeah, we have a Slack channel. We also have a sync tomorrow, so I'm going to throw it on the agenda.
Awesome, because like I'm pretty sure you can do something that is like 80% of this using Zapier, that tool has. I mean, there's lots of issues relying on tools like this for stuff like this for a whole bunch of like very good reasons, but at the same time, like actually not having to think about this and having this stuff archived in a proper place would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That said, I think we are still keeping up on YouTube. So.
Yep, so that's good. And honestly, it's not that hard to like grab the notes, throw it in a PR right after the meeting. But like right now, I'm like, I haven't had lunch and I got to do the security meeting in 5 minutes, and so it doesn't happen. And the next thing you know, it's a month later, or 6 months later, or a year later. Yeah. See you, Matteo.
Hi,
Bye bye,
Mateo.
folks. Bye.
Mhm.
Bye bye.
Hey, Mateo.
Mhm.
So anyway, all right. Anything else we want to talk about?
No, I think there's a question. So as we know, Jory, for all of those who don't know, was promoted to be the Vice President of Standards at the Linux Foundation. Yay, Jory.
Woo.
Yeah.
So, yes, she's wonderful and will shine, and she's still participating in our standards working group, of course. But that does mean that we have an open headcount. We shared Jory with the OpenSSF. So we are looking, but the Linux Foundation does have several open roles. So if that's something you're interested in, look for program management operations on our career page. And you'll see some job descriptions.
Cool. Is Jory still
Back from maternity leave, August 5th. I
Yeah.
think she was out through August 5th. And then she's sort of back into her new role, helping a little bit because someone else just had a baby on OpenSSF. So it's just a little juggling there as well, but yeah.
Great.
But we're getting some, where we need it, we've been getting help from others at the LF where we have questions, since, you know, we have some gaps as well. And actually, thank you, Brian Warner. He dips in occasionally too to help us out still, since he was kind of our encyclopedia of operations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, should we call it a wrap then? All right. I will do it
I'll
too.
see you in a few.